Hello, good evening. Welcome to my talk. Hello everyone, come in, make yourself comfortable. Is everyone feeling all right tonight? Everyone happy? Well, you won't be by the end, I can assure you that. Hello my friends, thank you for coming to my talk. Regrettably, I'm unable to be there with you in person because, to be frank, I'm probably dead by now, cut down in my prime by dark forces who do not wish me to tell you what I'm about to divulge, but you deserve to know the truth. You see, for eons we have been lied to, and tonight I'm going to lay bare as much as I dare the hideous truth behind cake. My suspicions were first aroused the first time I listened to this. I don't know if you can see it there. It's the first album by the girl band Toto Coelho called I Eat Cannibals, and they were the prototype for all modern girl bands. Here you can see we have Ginger Toto, Baby Toto, Ethnic Toto, and a couple of spare Totos in case any of the main Totos get eaten by a troll or something. But I'll get to that later. First, I feel I should say a word or two about what started my own calamitous journey down the path of cake. I feel I should say a word or two about what started me off on my personal calamitous journey down the path of cake. Well, it started off as a way to impress the ladies, and for a time it worked. Ladies started talking to me, but they only wanted to talk to me about cake. However, that soon changed when they noticed extra wobbly bits appearing where there were no wobbly bits before, and that's when things really turned nasty. I was declared an enemy of dieting by Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig, and they put a bounty on my head. Sorry, this is a bit emotional for me. I need to take a moment. I even wrote a play as a way of atoning for my baking crimes. It was called The Secret History of Cake, but if anything, it only ended up making things worse, and now the bounty on my head is even more, and cake bounty hunters are after me now. Anyway, back to girl bands. You will have noticed that girl bands tend to have not to have a very long lifespan. That has got nothing to do with record sales or talent. You see, girl bands are selected and trained with a very specific purpose, And that is to fight the horrors that lurk in the... Sorry, it's getting a bit... Did you hear that? Actually, I'm getting quite scared now. Dark forces might be closing in. I think we need to make a move. Anyway, back to girl bands. You may have noticed that girl bands have a very short lifespan. This has got nothing to do with talent or record sales. The truth is altogether more horrifying. Girl bands are selected and trained specifically to act as sentinels against the unnameable horrors that lurk in the pages of the dreaded baking book of doom, the Cumbernomicon. Cumbernomicon. Yes, it's important to get that right. Well, the origins of the Cumbernomicon are shrouded in mystery. No one's really sure where the first iteration of the Cumbernomicon originated. All I can tell you is that the first time I became aware of it was when I discovered the tomb of the mad baker Dineeding. He was himself murdered, brutally murdered by an army of wobbly-bottom ladies. And he had a copy of the Cumbernomicon in his dead hands, but it was not the original copy. No, is it a biscuit? Is it a cake? What is it? No, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even want to think about it, because I'm nervous enough as it is. That's one of the maddening things that came directly from the Cumbernomicon. In fact, Jaffa cakes didn't exist before the Cumbernomicon. So whoever wrote the original Cumbernomicon, that was the very first recipe they came up with, just to send us all mad. For a time we were winning. We had, of course, the mighty Spice Girls, laying waste to all in their way with their girl power. Then we had, of course, Atomic Kitten, who were in fact the first nuclear fission-powered girl band. But sadly, the immense power of the Cumbernomicon was too much for them, and we tried for a while to maintain a stalemate by uniting the power of both girl bands and boy bands with experiments like S Club 7, but those also failed in time. And now all we've got left to stand between us and the darkness is Little Mix, which means humanity is basically doomed. Well, you have to think of girl bands a little bit like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They are the chosen ones to defend us against the horrors of the Cumbernomicon. And, you know, as one girl band is destroyed, another one appears to take its place. But as generations have gone on, quality of girl bands has deteriorated worryingly. It's just not. It's a very dark future for all of us. So, and I need to keep something back in reserve, just in case I get cornered and I can use it against them. The thought has crossed my mind, but I don't think I'd look good in PVC. Well, I think the Spice Girls had the formula pretty much as perfect as it can get, because they had one of everything. They had Scary Spice. She was the most successful at the cake monster fighting, because she was Scary Spice. Cupcakes would flee just at the sight of her. But if I was to form my own girl band, I think I'd call it, I don't know, something like Cherry Kapow. And it would have elements of all the girl bands that have gone before, most closely resembling the Spice Girls, I think. I mean, I don't want to give you hope where there is no hope. I mean, cake is, it is an irresistible force. You cannot destroy it. You cannot destroy something that does not have I don't know how to put it, but you can't destroy it. The best you can do is to hold it in check. For a time, girl bands offered us a little bit of hope in that direction, but they are, as I say, failing. No, they were invoking, with that song, the phrase Zigga Zigga R is actually an ancient spell which holds Cake in check. But I think ultimately they made a mistake with that by invoking dark incantations, because it sort of turned against them. And I know they're trying to get back together, but I think they've basically spent that power. Now we have, I don't know, is it? Yeah, Little Mix and the Saturdays are all that stands between us and the darkness now. You have to listen to me. Don't pay any attention to what anyone else tells you. Cake is evil. And so is toast. Yeah. The very first time I cracked an egg into a bowl and mixed it with flour and butter, I should never have started with cake. I realize my mistake too late now. Don't. Just don't. Just do something else. Take up knitting, or, I don't know, become a bricklayer or a plasterer, but please don't. If you want to mix something, then mix concrete and cement. Don't mix batter. It's just not worth it. Just say no. I'd probably destroy Mr. Kipling, because he's one of the high priests of the Crumbronomicon. He's pretty much as high as it goes without delving into the really dark places. You know, I mean, I'm not talking about things like Black Forest Gatto or anything like that, but you know, Kipling, he's as well. He would be one of my first targets. It's nearly always the reaction. Yeah, I don't know why, I just have great difficulty in being taken seriously. And they should take me seriously, because this is really frightening stuff. And if they don't wake up, they're going to die horribly. I don't know what else I can do to make them listen. I suppose, you know, humanity is basically doomed. I know it's difficult because there's so many other voices with so many other opinions. It's easy to get drowned out. I suppose I'll just have to keep on speaking the truth for as long as I can, for as long as I've got breath left in my body. Hopefully someone will take notice and it won't be too late. Yes. Don't get me started on Battenberg. It's strawberry, it's vanilla, it doesn't make, it's a chimera of cake. And it's enrobed in this beastly coat of almond monstrosity. I don't know. No, just don't get me thinking about Battenberg. Well, all cake is evil, as I've pointed out, but there are cakes that are more evil than others. There was a cake that I experimented with a while ago called the pie cake. One of my friends unfortunately fell victim to it. I made the mistake of leaving it behind in the kitchen, in the office kitchen, and over the course of a week she kept going back and forth to the kitchen, taking nibbles out of it, and by the end of that week she had gained a stone. That's a stone that she has never lost. And she blames me for it to this day. And I've been trying to atone for it by, you know, going to the gym with her, but the the sad thing about that was that she hasn't lost a stone, whereas I've lost 2 stone. So it just ended up making things more bitter between us, and I don't know. I really don't know how I can atone for my sins in cake. There are hybrids walking around among us. Jenny Eclair is a prime example of one of those. Yes. 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 That's a source of great concern. That's where the high priests and the true devotees gather to worship at the altar of cake. It is the ultimate evil in the world today. I don't want to say how high she goes, but well, you said it. So I cannot confirm anything. I don't want to say anything about Paul Hollywood either. Longer than that, eons. I mean, the Earth is, what, 5 billion years old. The universe is 14 billion years old. It goes back even further than that, before there even was a universe. Cake is a primeval horror. It existed before there was any such thing as shape and form and matter. Marie Antoinette, yeah, she was an unfortunate case. She didn't realize the power of cake, and by invoking its name, she ended up becoming one of its victims. Cake existed before there was even such a thing as existence. Except there weren't glacé cherries back then. That came later. Perceive as cake is really just a small part of a projection into our dimension of a much larger, I don't know what you'd call it, form or malevolence. It's the proverbial tip of the iceberg, or icing bag. Not a portal as such. You have to think of it as like you have a thin membrane, and that thin membrane is our reality. Cake every now and then pushes through that membrane, and it takes the form of things like, I don't know, brownies, occasionally flapjacks, but mostly chocolate cake and sponge. You should be very scared. You can never defeat cake. I don't know if I should say. There are, yeah. If I were to tell you exactly what was hunting me, you'd probably go mad. So in the interests of your own sanity, I'll only hint at the horrors that await. But you'll see them soon enough, because they are coming for us. I'll probably get blended into a macaroon mixture. Probably almond and pistachio. Oh, yeah, of course I get those two confused. Yeah, macaroon are the coconut ones. No, I'm talking about the French macaroons because they are infinitely more diabolical. No, all cake is evil. Even the low-fat ones. In fact, they are even more evil than the full-fat ones because you don't know what's in them. It's my own... Well, no, it's not my own universe. It's a universe to which I am at once privileged and cursed to have a glimpse into. And it haunts my every waking hour and my every sleeping moment. I'm never without it. It never leaves me. It would be full of salad, full of greenery, full of pineapple chunks and pomegranates. Actually, when you think about it, we don't really need cake because nature has all of its own sweet stuff and we can get by pretty well without sugar. The Crumbronomicon. It was basically invented to bring humanity low, degrade us, and eventually destroy us. It's a very sad state of affairs. It'll just be cake batter everywhere, people choking on scones. It's going to be horrifying. The whole world will basically be covered in a layer of sponge cake, and we will all choke to death on bits of fruit and dried apricots. Alright, before I go off to meet my doom, I'll take a few questions